You are here. That is enough. Whatever you carried into today, set it on the floor beside the bed. Whatever you carried into the last hour, set that down too. The room you are about to enter does not need any of it. There is a hallway inside you tonight. Long, cool, soft underfoot. At the far end of it, a great room. And lining the walls of that room, 50 doors. Behind each door, a different version of you. Some of them have already done what you are still trying to do. Some have already become who you are slowly becoming. Some are waiting for you, and have been waiting longer than you know. Tonight, you will meet one of them. Before you walk down the hallway, breathe in slowly. Out slowly. Again. In slowly. Out slowly. This practice asks you to believe nothing. Whoever you understand to be in this room with you. God. The saints. Your ancestors. Your higher self. Your future self. Your unconscious mind. The universe. The part of your brain that imagines. Or simply you, talking to yourself. They are welcome here. The mechanism is yours to choose. The practice is the same. You may close your eyes now if they are not already closed. You may set your screen face down if it is not already down. The room does not need light. The room does not need anyone watching. It only needs you. The hallway is real enough now to walk. Each step, unhurried. Each breath, a little slower than the last. The walls of the hallway are warm to the touch. The floor is soft. Dark stone, polished wood. You may choose, but it is not important. The ceiling is high, and arches softly upward. At the end of the hallway, the great room opens. You step inside. Around you, 50 doors. You do not need to count them. You do not need to find them all. On some nights, you will only see a few. On some nights, you will see them all at once. On some nights, only one will be lit. Tonight, one of them is calling. Let the pull come to you. Do not search for it. You are drawn to a door. This door is on the left side of the room, higher than the others. The light beneath it is steady, clear, unhurried. You have walked past it many times without noticing. Or you have noticed, and looked away. Tonight you do not look away. There is no symbol on the door. No name carved into it. No instructions. But you know. You know what this door is. This is the door of the self who is at peace with money. You may feel something rise as you read those words. Shame, perhaps. Or longing. Or a kind of sharp embarrassment at wanting so badly to meet this version of yourself. That is all right. Money is the thing we learn earliest to hide. We hide the lack of it. We hide the abundance of it. We hide the desperate wanting of it. We hide the shameful relief when we finally have it. We hide our relationship to it the way we hide our relationships to our bodies. You may feel skepticism. You may feel that peace with money is not real, that it is a luxury reserved for people who already have plenty, that it is naive, that it is something only the wealthy or the enlightened can claim, and you are neither. You only have to walk through this door. The self on the other side will do the rest. Behind this door is the version of you who has stopped running from scarcity and toward abundance. Who has stopped checking accounts in the dark. Who can receive a gift without calculating what they owe in return. Who can give without measuring their own depletion. Who walks through the economic world neither as prey nor as predator. You may take your hand to the door now. The wood is warm. The handle turns. Step through. The room beyond the door is larger than you expected. Not ostentatious. Large with the kind of space that comes from not needing to hoard. There are windows. Tall ones. Looking out onto nothing in particular. A garden, perhaps. Or a field. Or simply the soft grey that comes before dawn. The room is simple. A chair across from another chair. A table between them. But the space around these things is generous. Room to breathe. Room to move without carefully. In the chair across from yours, the version of you waiting. You sit down. Witness them first. That is the rule of every room in the council. Before words. Before questions. Before anything at all. Witness them. Notice how they are sitting. Easy. Without the stiffness of someone calculating. Their back is straight, but not from effort. They are not braced. There is a slight smile, but not the smile of someone who is performing contentment. Notice their hands. They rest on the table in front of them. Open. Palms partially upward. These are not the hands of someone clutching or defending. These are not the hands of someone reaching with desperation. These are the hands of someone who has learned the difference between having enough and having everything. Notice their breathing. Deeper than yours. Slower. The breath of someone who has set down a weight they carried for a very long time. Notice their eyes. They are looking at you with something like recognition. They have been where you are. They remember what this uncertainty feels like. And they have come through to the other side. Notice their face. They have your face. Your age. Your marks and your lines. But there is something different. The tightness that lives in the jaw when you are always calculating. It is gone. The worry that lives between the eyebrows. It is not there. The shadow that lives behind the eyes when you are waiting for bad news. It is absent. They are the same person you are, but they have laid down what you are carrying. Notice that they are not in a hurry to speak. They are not eager to convince you. They know that you came here because some part of you is ready to know what they have learned. They will share it at the pace you can receive it. Now you may breathe with them. In, slowly. Out, slowly. In, slowly. Out, slowly. The room is patient. You are not late. You did not arrive too early. You are here at the exact moment you were supposed to arrive. When you are ready, and only when you are ready, they will speak. I want to start by acknowledging something about the place where you are standing. Money is everywhere. It is in every choice you make. It is in every door you walk through and every door that remains closed because you cannot afford the key. It is not in the room right now. But it has been with you the entire time. You have been carrying the weight of it. Or the terror of not having it. Or both at once. You have been measuring yourself against it. As if it were a measure of your worth. And I am here to tell you something that may take you the rest of your life to believe. Money is a measure invented by humans, not a measure of you. It tells you how much trading power you have in the world. It does not tell you how much good you are capable of. It does not tell you whether you are worthy of love. It does not tell you whether your life has mattered. It does not tell you whether you will be remembered when you are gone. But we learn, from the very beginning, that money is the measure of everything. That the man with more money is somehow more man. That the woman with more money is somehow more woman. That the person with more money is somehow more person. And if you have less money than those around you, there must be something wrong with you. Something you are lacking. Something you failed to do. I spent most of my life inside that story. I measured myself against it. And when I did not have money, I believed I was not measuring up. Let me tell you what poverty teaches you. It teaches you how to be creative. How to make something from almost nothing. How to see value in the things other people throw away. It teaches you how to wait. How to save a penny for a week to buy one thing you need. It teaches you resilience. The ability to endure when enduring is all that is available. It teaches you community. When you have very little, you learn to ask for help. You learn to share. You learn that humans are built for connection, not for hoarding. Poverty teaches you these things. But it also breaks something. It breaks your sense of safety in your own body. It breaks the feeling that tomorrow is secure. It teaches your nervous system to stay vigilant. To scan for threat. To prepare for scarcity because scarcity is real and imminent. This is not weakness. This is not a personal failing. This is what happens when a human body is exposed to real threat over a long period of time. Your system learns. Your system adapts. Your system becomes hypervigilant. And when you finally arrive at a place where you have enough, the system does not know how to turn off. The trauma of scarcity lingers. Even when the scarcity is gone. Even when you have enough to pay your bills. Even when you have more than enough. The body still remembers. The nervous system still scans for threat. I did not understand this for a long time. I went from not having much to having enough. And then to having more than enough. But my body never felt the safety that came with it. I was still checking accounts at 2 in the morning. I was still calculating, constantly, whether I could afford things that I could easily afford. I was still living as though the scarcity was still arriving. The abundance came, but I could not receive it. Because my system did not believe it was real. Let me tell you what enough actually feels like in the body. Not what it sounds like in your head. Not the numbers in the account. What it actually feels like when your nervous system finally believes that scarcity is no longer coming. It feels like your jaw releasing. It feels like a sigh. A sigh that comes from the belly, not from exhaustion, but from relief. It feels like the shoulders dropping a full inch without effort. It feels like being able to spend money on something beautiful without immediately calculating how to pay for it back. It feels like sleep that is not interrupted by financial anxiety. It feels like walking past something in a store window and being able to want it without shame. It feels like knowing that if an unexpected cost comes, you will not be destroyed by it. It feels like the ability to say no to something that does not serve you, instead of saying yes because you cannot afford to be selective. It feels like the ability to give money to someone who needs it without calculating your depletion. But here is the thing about enough. Enough is not a number. Enough is a state of nervous system resolution. I know people with $10 million who do not feel like they have enough. I know people with $50,000 who feel like they have more than they need. The number does not determine the feeling. The feeling lives in your body. And your body's feeling comes from your beliefs. What I had to learn was this. I had to reprogram the belief that scarcity was permanent. I had to teach my nervous system that this abundance is real. That it will not disappear tomorrow. That it is not the result of luck or accident or someone else's kindness that will be withdrawn. This took longer than I expected. It took longer than it should have. Because I had to learn to receive. Receiving is not a skill we teach. We teach people to work for what they get. To earn it. To deserve it. But we do not teach people how to simply receive. How to let something come to you without immediately calculating what you owe in return. Most of us learned a very particular story about receiving. We learned that if you receive something, you must give something back. That if someone gives to you, you are indebted. That generosity is always a transaction in disguise. And so when money came to me, I could not simply have it. I had to immediately figure out how to use it to pay someone back. Or to give it away to prove I was not attached to it. Or to save it obsessively to prove I deserved it. I could not just receive it. Learning to receive was like learning to be touched without flinching. It required me to override a very ancient message. A message that said, if you take something, you must become indebted. If you accept help, you are weak. If you have something, you must immediately give it away to prove you are good. But I had to learn. Because the alternative was to carry the abundance I had worked for and still feel poor. To have enough and feel like I was in constant danger of not having enough. The practice was simple, though not easy. Every time I received money, I paused. I noticed the urge to immediately spend it or give it away or hide it. And I instead just let it be there. I let myself have it. This sounds simple. It is not. Because every cell in your body may be screaming that this is wrong. That you do not deserve it. that something bad will happen if you keep it, that you should not enjoy it. But I learned to let the money be there anyway. And slowly, the body learned that it was safe. Now let me speak about your own worth. Disconnected from any number. Disconnected from how much you have. How much you earn. How much your house costs. How much you can spend. Your worth was the same when you had nothing. Your worth is the same now. Your worth will be the same if you lose everything. This is not something your mind will easily accept. Because we have been taught the opposite. We have been taught that your worth is measured in dollars. In the car you drive. In the neighborhood you live in. In what you can afford to give away. But your worth exists underneath all of that. It exists because you exist. Not because of what you can buy. Not because of what you have earned. Not because of what you can produce. One of the hardest things I had to unlearn was that my value came from my productivity. From how much I could earn. From how much I could afford. I had to learn to be a human, not a human doing. And this is where money becomes tricky. Because in a world organized around money, being a human being does not seem like enough. It seems like laziness. Like lack of ambition. Like failure. But I had to learn that my worth does not come from money. Even though money is necessary. Even though money is real and makes real differences in what is available to you. Your worth does not come from it. You can work for money. That is fine. You can try to have enough. That is wise. You can build something. That is good. But your worth is not measured in any of it. Now let me talk about the fear. The fear that it will run out. I learned this fear in my childhood. I learned it from watching my parents. I learned it from watching the cycles of plenty and scarcity. And even when I had enough for many years, the fear did not go away. The fear that the money would run out was underneath everything. And so I could not spend it. Could not enjoy it. Could not truly receive it. Because I was too busy being afraid it would disappear. What I had to do was sit with the fear. Not try to get rid of it. Not pretend it was not there. But sit with it and ask it what it needed. And what it needed was to be witnessed. The part of me that learned in childhood that survival was not guaranteed. That needed to always have something in reserve. That needed to be vigilant about every penny. That part of me was trying to keep me safe. And I could not just tell it to be quiet. I could not just ignore the fear. I had to acknowledge that it made sense. That given my history, it made complete sense. And then I had to tell it something it needed to hear. That it was okay. That the worst had not happened. That I had made it through. That I was safe now, even if I had not been safe then. And that the money I have now, I have actually earned it, actually built it, and I am capable of building it again if I lost it. That even if the money ran out, I would not die. I would be uncomfortable, perhaps. I would have to start over, perhaps. But I would survive. just as I had survived before. The fear that money will run out is real. And it may run out. That is the truth of being human. We cannot guarantee the future. We cannot guarantee that we will always have what we need. But most of us spend our lives practicing a kind of poverty rehearsal. We rehearse the fear so much that we live as though it has already happened. And the money remains in the account. But we are still living in scarcity. I had to learn to interrupt this rehearsal. To notice when I was sliding into the fear. And to gently, without judgment, come back to what was actually true. That I had enough today. That I had shelter today. That I had food today. That the worst thing that could happen tomorrow would not make today less true. Now I want to talk about something that most of us never talk about. Money shame. There is shame in having very little. The shame that comes from not being able to afford what others can afford. The shame of living in a smaller space. The shame of wearing hand-me-downs. The shame of not being able to help when someone needs you. This shame is real. And it is fed by a society that measures human worth in dollars. But I want to tell you something. The people who have very little are often the most generous. They know what it means to be without. So when they have something, they give it. There is also shame in having a lot. The shame of having abundance when others do not. The shame of enjoying things that are beautiful or expensive. The shame of inherited wealth or lucky timing. The shame of abundance that feels unearned. I carried both of these shames at different points in my life. The shame of not having enough. And then the shame of having more than enough. Both of them were designed to keep me from fully inhabiting my life. What I had to learn was this. You do not owe anyone an apology for having what you have. You do not owe anyone an explanation for not having what you do not have. Your abundance is not a sin. Your lack is not a failure. You are allowed to have. You are allowed to lack. You are allowed to be in the between place where you are building and growing and figuring out your relationship to resources. All of it is allowed. None of it determines your worth. Now let me talk about the relationship to giving. This is a place where many people get stuck. There is a particular kind of person who has learned that in order to be good, in order to be worthy, in order to be loved, they must give. They must always give more than they receive. They must spend themselves for others. They must not enjoy what they have until everyone around them has enough. This person becomes a martyr to their own generosity. And they call this love. But it is not love. It is a very particular kind of running away. I was this person. I would give away money I did not have to spare, just to prove that I was good. Just to prove that I was not selfish. Just to prove that I deserved to have anything at all. And what I learned was that this was not generosity. This was harm disguised as kindness. Because when I gave away what I could not spare, I was left depleted. And then I could not help anyone. And then I resented the people I had given to. Real generosity comes from a place of sufficiency. It comes from having enough and knowing you have enough. And then giving from that place of enough. Real generosity does not require you to flinch. It does not require you to perform sacrifice. It does not require you to deplete yourself. Real generosity is a gift given from peace, not from fear. And it does not keep score. I had to learn this. I had to learn to give from the place where I was not flinching. Where I was not calculating my loss. Where I was not expecting gratitude. Where I was not proving anything. And this changed everything. Because now when I give, it is actually generous. And now when I do not give, I do not feel guilty about it. Because generosity is not required of me. It is not a test I have to pass to be worthy. It is a choice I make when it feels right. And there is one more thing about giving. You cannot give what you do not have. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot save people who are drowning by jumping in the water with them. So the first work is to fill your own cup. To make sure you have enough. To make sure you are not drowning. And then, and only then, can you give from the place of having enough. Now let me talk about receiving. Because this is where most of us get truly stuck. Receiving is not something we practice. It is not something we celebrate. We celebrate the giver, but we do not celebrate the receiver. We celebrate the person who is generous, but we look down on the person who accepts generosity. And so most of us are terrible at receiving. We cannot let anyone give to us without immediately feeling like we owe them. We cannot accept a compliment without deflecting. We cannot accept help without guilt. And this is a tragedy. Because the world only works if both giving and receiving are happening. If there are only givers and no receivers, then no one is actually giving anything. The giver has no one to give to. I had to learn to receive. To let people help me. To let people give to me. To let myself take what was being offered. And this was harder than giving. Because receiving requires vulnerability. It requires admitting that you cannot do everything yourself. It requires admitting that you need other people. It requires letting yourself be dependent. And we live in a world that teaches us that dependence is shameful. But humans are built for dependence. We are built to need each other. We come into the world completely dependent. And we are meant to move through life in relationships where we both give and take. The person who only gives is sick. The person who only takes is sick. The healthy person both gives and receives. So I had to learn to say yes when someone offered to help. To say yes to money when it was offered. To say yes to kindness when it was given. And to let myself be on the receiving end of generosity. This changed how I moved through the world. Because now I was not performing strength anymore. I was not trying to prove that I did not need anyone. I was letting myself be human. Now let me say something about the economic world. About being neither prey nor predator. Most of us move through the economic world in one of two ways. We are either prey or we are predator. We are either the person being taken advantage of, or we are the person taking advantage. If we are prey, we accept less than we deserve. We take whatever crumbs are offered to us. We do not ask for what we are worth. We do not stand up for ourselves. If we are predator, we take more than we need. We exploit people who are desperate. We justify our cruelty as business. We do not see the people on the other side of our transactions. There is a third way. To be neither. To walk through the economic world as a human. With clear boundaries and genuine generosity. Asking for what you are worth without needing to destroy anyone to get it. Giving what you offer without needing to deplete yourself. This is what I have learned. To be clear about my value. To ask for what I need. To not accept less than what is fair. And to also be fair to the people I am dealing with. To see them as humans, not as obstacles to my success. To not exploit them even when I could. To not take more than what is agreed upon. This is harder than being prey or predator. Because it requires constant consciousness. It requires constant choice. It is easier to either suffer or to exploit. It is harder to stay in the middle place. But this is where peace lives. In the middle place. Where you have enough. Where you are fair. Where you see other people as humans like you. I want to say something about the meaning of money. Because I had to strip away all the meaning I had assigned to it. I had assigned money the meaning of love. I thought if I had enough money, people would finally love me. I assigned it the meaning of safety. I thought if I had enough money, I could finally relax. I assigned it the meaning of worth. I thought if I had enough money, I would finally be valuable. But money is none of those things. Money is money. It is a tool. It is a medium of exchange. It is not love. It is not safety. It is not worth. What I had to do was give money back its simple meaning. And then look for love, safety, and worth in the places they actually live. Love lives in the people who choose to be with you. Safety lives in the nervous system resolution that comes when the threat is actually gone. Worth lives in the simple fact of your existence. Money can help facilitate these things. But money is not the thing itself. And once I understood that, money became a lot less important. But also a lot more easy to use. Because I was not trying to squeeze meaning out of it that it could never provide. Now I want to talk about the body. Because money lives in the body in ways we do not talk about. When you do not have enough money, the body knows. The body goes into a kind of low-grade panic. The nervous system is always scanning for threat. The jaw is clenched. The shoulders are tense. The breath is shallow. This is not something you are doing wrong. This is what the body does when survival is threatened. And when you finally have enough money, the body is the slowest to catch up. The body remembers the threat. So even when your mind knows you have enough, the body is still braced. I had to learn to work with the body. To tell it, over and over again. We are safe. We have enough. The threat has passed. And slowly, the body began to believe. The jaw unclenched. The shoulders dropped. The breath deepened. But this took time. This took patience. This took me not judging myself for the fact that my body did not immediately believe what my mind knew. The body is the carrier of the trauma of scarcity. And healing the trauma requires working with the body, not just with the mind. So if you are in this room tonight, and you have money but you do not feel like you have money, know that your body is still healing. Know that this is normal. Know that you are not broken. Your body is doing what it has been trained to do. And you are teaching it a new way. Now I want to speak to those of you who are still in scarcity, who do not have enough, who are still in the place where every dollar matters. I want to tell you that what you are doing matters. The work you are doing to survive, to provide for yourself or your family, to find your way toward enough. It matters. And I want to tell you something else. Even in the scarcity, the peace I am talking about is not out of reach. Because peace does not come from having enough money. Peace comes from your relationship to what you have. You can be in scarcity and still honor yourself. You can be in scarcity and still give from what you have. You can be in scarcity and still be generous. You can be in scarcity and still have peace about the future. The peace I am describing is not for later. It is not for when you have finally gotten enough. It is for now. And it comes from understanding that your survival, your resourcefulness, your ability to keep going matters. It comes from understanding that you are not less than. That your lack of money does not make you less worthy, less valuable, less human than anyone else. The work, then, is to begin to change your relationship to what you have. To notice the moments when you make it enough. To honor the scrappiness and the creativity that you have developed in response to scarcity. To not judge yourself for not having more. To not believe that if you just worked harder, or were smarter, or tried more, then you would have what you need. Sometimes scarcity is not a personal failing. Sometimes it is the fault of systems that were not built for your thriving. But you are thriving anyway. And that is worth witnessing. Now I want to come back to where we started. To the measure that money is not. When you wake up tomorrow, the amount in your account will be what it is. It may go up. It may go down. It may stay the same. But you will be the same. You will be exactly as much of a person as you were tonight. Exactly as worthy. Exactly as valuable. Exactly as loved. This is the place of peace. This is what I have come here to tell you. Not that money does not matter. It matters. It is real. It makes real differences in what is available to you. But you are not your bank account. You are not the number in the account.